Hey guys, Noah here from Cars and Drafts. Today I'm interviewing my friend Pete. He has an 83 Land Rover. So Pete, tell me about your car.
So it's a 1983 Land Rover Series III, 88-inch. The 88-inch refers to the wheelbase from hub to hub, and it's a station wagon version of this. They came in lots of different variants and were used in agriculture. This vehicle, the previous owner was a guy named James Barker, and he lived in Wales in the United Kingdom. And he sold the vehicle to a guy that sold cars, and I bought it on eBay in March 2019, and then had it shipped to the port of Charleston on a roll-on, roll-off ship, and picked it up at the port and brought it home, and have done some work on it and drive it to Noah's Cars and Drafts and Cars and Coffee, and just take it around whenever I want to go.
So let's look at your car right here.
So I didn't tell you about the engine. The engine is a 2.25 liter diesel engine. The block for the diesel is the same block as the petrol version. The only difference, of course, is that instead of having a distributor coming out of the top of the block, it has a diesel fuel injection pump, and so it's injected, and it's a very, very simple motor. The motor was created originally in the kind of the late 30s, early 40s by Rover, and post World War II there was a steel shortage, and so they made these cars out of aluminum. So it's an aluminum alloy known as Burma Bright. It dents very, very easily. You can see I got a couple of golf ball hits right here. And so they used this Burma Bright material because the British government was rationing steel, sheet steel. And so the Rover company didn't get a very good allotment of sheet steel, and so they used this aluminum material. And
you want to show us the engine?
Sure. So there it is there in all of its glory. I actually just cleaned it. It's a very, very wet engine. There are leaks. Anywhere there could be a leak, there's a leak. And so the solution is for me to take the engine and the transmission out and replace all of the seals. And it's not leaking that bad, so I didn't do that, or I haven't thought about doing that just yet. So this is the fuel injector right here, and there would normally be a distributor there for the petrol version of this, and instead of spark plugs, it has glow plugs that heat the cylinders. So when you start it, the injectors are injecting diesel into a hot cylinder, which causes the thing to fire. So,
You want to show us the inside?
Sure. So as you'll notice, it's a right-hand drive vehicle because it was a UK vehicle. It's funny, a lot of people ask if it's legal to have this, and the answer is yes. This vehicle, because it was older than 25 years, it doesn't have to meet the National Highway Transportation Safety Board rules or the EPA rules, which are pretty strict and prevent people from importing vehicles from Europe and the UK. But once a vehicle reaches the age of 25, it is exempt from those rules, and so these are getting really popular. The newer version of this, the 90 and the 110, is getting really popular and really expensive to buy here in the United States. This design, the original Land Rover was designed in 1946, and the guy who designed it, Maurice Wilkes, had a Willis Jeep, and drove it on his farm, and it was starting to get old, and he needed to get a new vehicle, and so he worked at Rover and designed this vehicle as his replacement, and it went into production, and they've sold 1.4 million of these, I think, now.
Mm-hmm.
And so in 1983, when this was built, I think they sold about 39,000 of them. So they are plentiful. There's a lot of them out there, but they are getting more and more expensive to get. They're not really expensive to repair or fix. There's a lot of parts out there. There's a lot of aftermarket parts. I recently just got a shipment of parts from the UK. The shipping is what'll kill you on the parts, but the parts themselves are really, really inexpensive. So I'm about to do all four wheels, the bearings and the brakes. I'm going to replace the fuel injectors. The fuel injector for this vehicle was about $45, which is really, really inexpensive. So rather than having the injectors reconditioned, I'm just replacing them. So the vehicle is technically seats 7 people. So 3 people can sit in the front, and then if you look in the back there, Noah, you'll see that there are 2 bench seats.
Can you open up the back door so I can show it properly?
So you'll see that there are 2 bench seats in there facing each other, 2 on each side. So 2 plus 2 is 4, and then the 3 in the front makes 7. If you got the, if you were somebody who bought the 4-door version of this, you could get 12 people in that vehicle. Technically, I think it would be a pretty tight fit. But this is the station wagon version. The rear seats make it a station wagon along with the sliding windows. And then these windows up here, and actually I'll show them to you from inside. These windows up on the roof here are known as Alpine windows. And you'll see in the roof these round oval cutouts here. And these are actually vents that pop up facing forward. And if you step back and look at this, you'll see that the roof has this extra skin on top of it. And so what happens is air flows through the skin, and because it's separated, it keeps the roof cool. And those vents open up, bring air down through the roof. And then also under the windscreen are these vents here, and so you get direct air through right underneath the windscreen. This port here is where air is drawn in for the heater on the vehicle. Another thing I'm going to do is put freewheeling hubs on here. It's 4-wheel drive, and right now, when the vehicle's moving,
Sounds good.
It's definitely a diesel. I think putting the new injectors on it is going to clean up the emissions a little bit. It's a little smoky right now, but it's just a fun vehicle. This is the original number plate. If you go on the UK's the Ministry of Transportation and you type in A197 TTU, the entire history of this vehicle is available on there. And so cars from the UK, when they come off the assembly line, are assigned a registration number, and they live with that number throughout their life. And so in some ways you don't really need Carfax, because the Ministry of Transportation keeps track of all of the failures in the MOT process, which is a safety testing process. And so when you look at this vehicle, you find that it had a lot of issues. It had frame problems and all of that. The vehicle, when I bought it, had a past MOT, which means all of those issues had been repaired. And so it makes for a safer way to buy a used vehicle, because if the vehicle has a past MOT, that means that all of the issues that the safety process found have been rectified. Now they focus mainly on safety matters though, and so other issues don't get caught in the MOT process, but it's a good way to buy it. There are some bits that are not Burma-Bright, so this is, you can hear that's aluminum, but this is metal, this is steel, and this is basically one of the bulkheads. The other bulkhead is right here under the window, and so this slab that runs down the front here is the main bulkhead of the vehicle, and it is steel, and it is prone to rust. And so when you buy these vehicles, one of the things you want to look for is any bubbling. There's a little bit down here, but it's not terrible. Everything on this vehicle it's all nuts and bolts, and so and screws, and so you can take it apart with a set of regular bench tools, and a lot of people do. They'll take the whole body off of it and do frame offs, restorations on these, and replace the frame frequently. And that's it's not a terribly difficult task for a do-it-yourselfer. It's time consuming. It's probably expensive. A new frame is probably $3,000 to $4,000. But if you've got good body panels like this and you put it back together right, you probably end up with a really nice vehicle that is going to be worth quite a bit of money. There's a pretty hot market for these. It's why I bought it in the UK. I couldn't afford to buy one here in the United States. It probably would have been twice as expensive as what I paid for it. So,
well, thanks for letting me interview you
absolutely.
today.
And I look forward to seeing you all at the next Cars and Drafts.